Hey everyone, sorry I couldn't be there today. However, you can't escape me. There are just a few things that I have to share with you about collaboration today. And then it's going to be in the very capable hands of your lit coaches. But one of the things I wanted to share with you had to do with the rubrics and your first task of taking a look at those rubrics and giving me some feedback. But here's what I learned from our norming days together. For the most part, we were okay with the content of the rubrics, but what we were not okay with at all three grade levels was the fact that there didn't seem to be always a sophistication of skills in the rubrics. So the rubrics that you have today are the ones where I made changes as a result of our conversations on the norming day. So the black text is the text that's coming directly from Calkins, and it's the text that you said you wanted to be in the rubric. Under lead, where there are blocks of orange highlighting anywhere on these rubrics, that's where I'm stuck. And I think I've said this to a few groups near the end. I'm really stuck on lead because it seems to me that each cell says the same thing with different words. It explains the same skills just using different words. So I'm a little stuck on how to add that sophistication into lead. Also, one of the things I've been thinking about is because lead seems to be the same thing from 5th grade to 9th grade, maybe there's just a point where we decide you're either proficient at this or not. I don't know, at 6th grade. And so there isn't a 4 on the rubric, but maybe it's just a 3, 2, and a 1 in those descriptors. I'm not sure. It's difficult because to me the language looks the same from 5th grade to 9th grade. So I've been kicking around the idea of maybe a thesis needing to belong in part of the lead, but I'm going to let you talk about that. What you need to know is where there's orange highlighting, I'm completely stuck, and I desperately need your help and your feedback and your thinking about how to fix that. Where there is purple wording is where I've made changes to the rubric based on our discussions. So in the case of transitions in this 6th grade rubric, they're big. It's a big difference from the original rubric starting at a 2 and a 1. So I think those are the only things that I need you to know about my color coding. But I gave you viewing rights of these as they stand because I couldn't even imagine how I would have access to the original if I gave everybody editing rights. But you can do your editing today in one of two ways. You can either make a copy of this and edit directly on the rubric and then share that with me. If you do that, please only send me one per grade level. And then the other thing is that on your agenda for today, at every grade level, I also have a grade level feedback suggestion document. So you could just write your suggestions into that as well. Either way is okay with me. It's just if you make a copy of this and then send it to me, what will be most helpful is that you're working together and then you're only sending me one copy of your suggestions. Then the other thing that I need to share with you is about notice and note, and the lit coaches will talk you through the plan for that, but I just wanted to provide a little bit of background for you because some of you are probably thinking, how the heck did we end up with this book in our hands? And I wanted to just be able to explain the background and then our purpose with the book for this year, and then I'll let you get started on your collaboration time. I think you've heard me say before that I feel like we have a gap in our curriculum when it comes to consistently having kids reading books of choice and then writing about reading. And this summer when we got together, that was one of our tasks in that curriculum group, was to provide some options for how it is that we can give you some options for how to get kids writing about reading. And to fast forward what happened there, we ended up talking about notice and note. And really one of the reasons we ended up talking about that as a way to provide an option for teachers to get kids writing about their reading is because many of the lit coaches were using it. with our in their intervention courses. And I know you don't know this, but we had 42 kids across the district who were in intervention classes and got to a point where they were independently and strategically reading at grade level. With 41 kids exit out of intervention district-wide. That's huge and really exciting. And the thinking was, if teaching these signposts is helping our most vulnerable readers become successful and independent and strategic in their reading and their thinking, then surely there are implications for other students as well. So that's really how you ended up with this book in your hands. Is then I went to Julie and asked her if there was money to maybe do a middle school book purchase adoption, because if you recall 10 years ago when we bought our books, you also got a stack of professional texts. And although I have a list in mind for which one we could read for speaking and listening and which one we could read for vocabulary and grammar, one step at a time, Lisa. So you have notice and note, and I know that everybody's at different places. There are people who read this last year, there are people who have already started reading it this year, there are people who have the book for the first time in their hands today, and no matter where you are in the process, it's fine. But our goal this year is to learn about the signposts. I think as you learn about them, you might want to be trying them right away, but maybe not. Maybe you're in a place where you're like, I'll learn about them and I'll do this at collaboration, but I am not going to use with kids yet. That's fine. This year, we just want you to learn about the signposts and consider this as a way to get kids writing about their reading and using a close reading strategy with your kids. So, look, the coaches, when they get to that part in the agenda, we have a few different reading plans put together depending where you are in the process. What's really important to know is that we want everybody to have time to read on these collaboration days, so you have time to do some reading of notice and note, but then that everybody has the possibility of being in a discussion as well. So we want you to have time to read, and then no matter what you read, we want you to be part of a discussion after you do that reading. And then, I forgot to tell you something. If you turn to page 75 in the text, this is one of the other really big reasons that this book was chosen. The chart on page 75 lines up the signposts that we teach to get kids to closely read for and then write about. And then the last column on the chart, it identifies which part of our standards is being taught when we teach kids how to closely read for each of these signposts. And this was important because I had some conversations with teachers last year who were spending like 2 weeks teaching connections, 2 weeks teaching visualizing. And while those might be things that we go back to and certainly have kids writing about from the text, those are things that end in the standards at second grade. So it's not that we'd never have kids write about those and we never talk about those, but if we're devoting time to that in isolation, then we're not really getting at the items that our standards call for, like character development and understanding theme and the relationship between a character and a theme. And I felt like these signposts really put us in a position to be focused on our grade level standards. So that was another reason for this. So I'm going to stop talking. Let coaches have the rest of this day in their hands. If you have questions, shoot me an email. And happy reading and writing and rubric fixing. And I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye. Have a great afternoon.